right, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to the second Tradition Meets Innovation call we've had this April. For those who do not know me, my name is Angie. I'm the Product Training and Development Manager, and today is a very unique Tradition Meets Innovation call. Now, traditionally, what we do is the third Wednesday of every month, we get in deep on the science and the innovation behind RIMAN's products and the RIMAN product philosophy. But today's call is unique in that there's nothing prepared in regards to a presentation, but instead we're going to be answering your questions live, whether you send them into the chat or into the Q&A function, which is at the bottom bar of the Zoom tab. We're going to answer anything you want to know about the new skincare and the new makeup as well. Now, before we begin, I want to reiterate that we love education here. Product philosophy, product intention is crucial in understanding a brand, and we're always looking for ways in which we can maximize your connection with the education. So to kind of help me announce something extremely exciting, I'd like to invite on my mentor and of course the Director of Marketing, Miss Katie Jones.
Hi, Angie. Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. I know tonight's call is going to be absolutely amazing. You guys know that Miss Angie is just a wealth of information. And how often do you get a chance to directly ask her the questions? I know sometimes you have to wait for the email response or you have to wait to see her at an event. Twice a year, but this is a super unique opportunity. So I am thrilled for you guys that made the time to hop on. I know it's going to be a great one. So Angie, without further ado, I'm going to dive into just a really exciting announcement for the field. So for those of you who were at convention, you may remember that I made an announcement on stage that we were going to be launching our 10-phase product training curriculum. For those of you who are not at convention, I'm going to give you a little bit of background, and then guys, the moment has come. We are going to dive right in. All right. So here at RIMAN, we take pride in the fact that we have made it easy to understand multi-step, multi-layered rituals by putting them into these three main tenets, right? Of cleanse, hydrate, and protect. But we also know that sometimes when people are coming over from a more traditional skincare routine that has not been influenced by the K-beauty ways, that they might see a lot of products, right? They might see a lot of products. They might not understand what the value of using all the products is, how to apply all the products, and really, more importantly, the weight and the history and the mystique of K-beauty and of our interpretation of its philosophies. And we know that when people are confused, they don't do anything. Customers don't buy, planners don't know how to promote. So we really took some time. We took a step back and we thought about how can we make understanding this as simple as possible. So we went ahead and created a 10-phase product training curriculum for you guys, okay? Now, what is our goal with this product curriculum? Our goal is simple. It's to educate and empower. Really, that's it. Because when you feel educated and you know what you're talking about, you feel empowered to share the RIMAN product philosophy and the RIMAN story and to help people find the ritual that is right for them, okay? So again, if you were at convention, I know you saw some of these things, but we're doing it for all of our people at home that perhaps are catching up. So let's go over a little bit of what you can expect in this 10-phase product curriculum that is launching tonight. So in this curriculum, you're going to go over the first phase, which is RIMAN's history, mission, product values, really what we stand for as a company, with that main product value being always looking to create a difference that you will love, a difference that you might not have even known that you were looking for, right? Phase two is going to be understanding our K-beauty roots. Not only what is K-beauty, but why do we ascribe to it? So that is phase two. Phase three is all about RIMAN's heritage homeland, the ingredients that we embrace from that UNESCO World Heritage Site of Jeju Island, and the innovative technologies that we use to maximize them. So really, it's all of RIMAN's heritage, what sets us apart from a heritage standpoint. Phase four is where it all starts with RIMAN. I started in the beginning with how we've simplified it into cleansing, hydrating, and protecting, really understanding why those three main tenets should be satisfied in any successful K-beauty skincare routine, and specifically in our RIMAN rituals. Phase five is where we really get into the deep dives. We'll do a deep dive into our signature line, the ICD line that you all so love, followed by the ICD Radiantsum line. Again, this is going to go product by product into the ingredients, into the formulations, and into the methods of application to get the most out of your ritual. Then you move into our personal care line, Bodolab, followed by our wellness products, Lifening. And then phase 9 is really where it comes together. We bring it all together in phase 9, where you take everything that you learned and we help you understand how to help someone else find the ritual that's right for them. All right. Phase 10 is a short one. It's a fun one. It's graduation. So we will be able to get a downloadable diploma to say that you have graduated from our product curriculum, and obviously show it off in your meetings to encourage other people to want to as well. So how does this work in execution? Well, we recommend that when you're onboarding a new planner, you encourage your planners to complete phases 1 through 3 in the first 48 hours. We feel like if you understand these basics of RIMAN, you're set to talk to a customer about RIMAN. You do not have to understand every single detail of every single product. You just have to be able to talk about what we stand for and how and why we create the products we create. And your love for the rest of the products is going to sell them, and it's going to show itself, right? So phases 1 through 3 got to complete right away. Phase 4, we do recommend to have a deep understanding of the 3 tenets within the first week, phases 5 and 6 within the first 2 weeks, and phases 7 through 9 within the first month. Again, it's not important to obsess over memorizing all the details in the very beginning. You can give yourself time for that, but really understanding the basics of the RIMAN philosophy in the beginning is going to help you feel empowered to start those conversations. This platform is super easy to enroll on. In fact, I am going to show you guys how you can do that. So allow me to reshare. Let's see. Sorry, navigating between windows is always fun. Okay, got it. All right. So the way this is going to work, beginning this week, is when planners enroll, they will receive an email that will give them pretty much a roadmap for success upon enrolling. It tells them about the drive, and it reminds them to sign up for the product curriculum course. So you will start to see that email coming out on our new platform here this week, and it will include a link to this to easily enroll in this course. As you scroll down, you can see a little bit of an overview of the course, and you can even expand to see what you're going to have offered to you in the course. Once you enroll, it's very simple. I have already enrolled, so I have my page open here, but you're just going to be asked for your email, create a password, and you will have to provide your planner ID. You'll want to do that because who knows, there might be some recognition opportunities, maybe even some opportunities to earn things later if for people that have completed their product curriculum. So for those of you who are now on our new platform and have not yet chosen your username, you can still use your planner ID if you have your ID number. If you have chosen a username, go ahead and enter that alphanumeric username, whether, mine would be Katie RIMAN Glow. Go ahead and enter that username. But whatever your current identifier is with RIMAN, whether it's your planner ID or your username, go ahead and submit that when you enroll so we know that you've taken part, okay? Once you enroll, you'll be placed in this landing page where you can open the training. And it is this simple. The videos
Welcome to
start
RIMAN, the
immediately.
ultimate way.
I'm not sharing sound, so you won't hear it, but you can watch a video in each phase. Once you finish the video, you'll have a quiz. So you can kind of test your retention, and you can retake that quiz as many times as you want. I find that the quiz is the most helpful way to see if you're really grasping onto the key points. And then finally, you'll see tools. So for every single phase, there are downloadables such as PowerPoint slides, one-sheets. Some of our phases actually have videos. So for example, if I were to go to the deep dive on the ICD line, oh, I can't see it yet because I didn't complete my phase 1. So that is actually a great lesson, you guys. This is phase-based learning. You won't be able to get the most out of phase 5 ICD deep dive until you understand the cleanse, hydrate, protect 3 main tenets. So you do have to complete the phases in order, but as you move through the phases, you'll see some of these phases have 15 things to download. They have all the RIMAN Days videos on the products. They might have how-to videos. They'll have ritual one sheets, but everything that you know and love that's in the drive that sometimes maybe you felt like was a little scattered and you didn't know where to find something, you can always come back to your product curriculum and find everything you need for one topic in one place. All right. So with that, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint briefly and give you guys some links to remember. Um, Give me a second. Okay, reshare. All right, so that was easy enrollment. And we've gone over the items that you can download and the things that you will learn. If you want to take this, many of you guys, you may be new to us, but you may also be a veteran planner and you might have been through Product University. So you might think, I don't know but if you're curious and you want to just enroll so you can always have this repository of information in your back pocket, go ahead and scan this QR code. We will also post a bit.ly link in the chat for you guys, for those of you that are on your mobile devices and can't scan it. But if you can, screenshot this so you have it for later, because you can also enroll. It's not only for new planners. One thing I also want to note, go ahead and screenshot this and we'll make sure that this is communicated as well. But when you return, so after you've created your account, you log out for the day, you've done your phase, and then you're going to come back tomorrow to do your next phase. This is the URL that you go back to return to log in. rimantraining.thinkific.com. We are using a third-party partner at this time. We do have plans over time to move this into our very own My Office platform, but we didn't want to wait. We want to get it in your hands. So please bookmark this URL. Don't lose it. You're going to want to go back to rimantraining.thinkific.com. So guys, with that, I cannot wait for you to dive into it. I mean, we've been hard at work on it. We are so excited for you to experience it. And with that too, I just also want to say happy makeup launch day, you guys. Like what an awesome day. I have to say I'm rocking my signature red. I know Angie's rocking her dusky mauve. So hopefully you guys at home will be getting yours in your hands soon. But we're so excited for you guys to get your hands on the makeup as well. So what an exciting day. And I'm pleased to have been here with you for a few minutes. So with that, back to you, Angie. And I know you guys are going to get a wealth of information tonight.
Thank you so much, Katie, for your time and for that thorough explanation. This is a project that we've been working on for months, and we are so excited to roll out, and it really just continues to put forth that RIMAN difference. So thank you, Katie, for your time.
Absolutely. Have a great call.
Thank you. All right, y'all. So now we are at the Q&A section of this TMI call. So all we are doing is asking questions and answering them on the new ICD skincare and the makeup. So feel free to send your questions directly into the chat or also use the Q&A function, which is a little comment box with a question mark in it. And so if any questions go unanswered, please know that the ritual@riman.com inbox is always open. And furthermore, I do want to mention that this is new for all of us. This new skincare, this new makeup, it is new for everyone. And while we're continuously working with HQ on these formulations, I am always open to learn more myself. So if there's a question that I simply can't answer, I will find an answer for you. So just know that. But one of the greatest, first of all, Marilee asked what I'm wearing. So yes, Katie mentioned this is dusky mauve. And so I have just a cover of this and I left it on. But if you remember with the lip tints, they're multi-use in the sense that you can either leave the lip tint on and have that nice solid color, or you can blot it off after 5 minutes and have the lip shade as well. So depending on the intensity of application, you can decide what you want to ultimately have on your lips. But anyways, for our first question, it comes from Suzette. And she asked, can you explain the benefits of why you want to use the setting spray before applying the cushion? I've used a setting spray after, but never before makeup. So that is a fantastic question. And I think the key is in the name of the product, Set and Stay. So oftentimes in our typical makeup routine, you may use a primer first, and of course, a finishing or setting spray at the end. The reason for spraying the spray before any coverage product is that is essentially your primer. That is what's setting the makeup realistically, in the sense that it's going to grip onto that coverage, onto that pigment, and keep it evenly on the skin. And then going in that second time is what helps it stay. That's going to help it kind of resist any external dust laying on it or even just lightly touching your skin, it's going to keep that makeup otherwise unmovable. So realistically, it's a security measure. You're keeping it locked in on both ends of the makeup application, both in a priming kind of situation and then, of course, as a finishing kind of situation. All right, other great questions. Is the new BB cream formulation the same as the old one? Correct. Yes, they are the same as the old one. With that in mind, you asked secondly, same question for the compact cushion. That is different. So before we, of course, had the 40 luster cushion, it was offered in one shade. And now we have the luminous glow cushion offered in five shades. So the old compact cushion, of course, it had giant byungpool. It also had Jeju chickweed and it had eco ceramide shea butter. This new cushion, as we went over last week, has still that giant byungpool for antioxidant care, but it has unique plant extracts now for maintaining skin hydration, one of which is snow mushroom extract. The snow mushroom is thought to be a more powerful hydrator than even hyaluronic acid. That second ingredient is urinaria, I believe, extract, and so this is going to be a powerful antioxidant. So different key ingredients and also a different finish to the luminous glow cushion. The previous 40 luster cushion was very much formulated for Korean makeup aesthetics, in which you have a lot of luminosity, but oftentimes that may mean that your makeup could rub off easily because the makeup was so dewy. Now, this new cushion, this luminous glow cushion, is a semi-matte finish. It's going to have that radiance, as you can see probably as I'm moving my face, but it doesn't move as easily. You can't easily scratch it off. So you have a difference not only in the key ingredients, but also there are slightly more micro powders in the new luminous glow cushion. Okay, so another great question. What can you tell customers about still being able to use their other makeup products in combination? Is that recommended? So this entirely depends, and this goes on for even the skincare as well. If someone's truly wanting to see the RIMAN difference, I often say to utilize all RIMAN products. That's really what is going to work in regards to synergy. These products have been designed to work synergistically, to have overlapping benefits and complementary ingredients to really bring about that radiance, to bring about that hydration and that protection. That being said, of course, we don't currently have a blush or an eyeshadow, so there is going to be some mix and matching with outside products in RIMAN. What I will say is, of course, you have to look at the core bases of the products. If they're wanting to use their own primer and then our cushion, sometimes just the basic science of cosmetic chemistry will come into play, in which if the primer is not the same base as the cushion, you might not see the appearance or the result you're expecting. And so I ultimately would suggest that they first try the products out on their own. If they're doing, the coverage products, they're doing the lip products, to do them on their own and then continue on with their other makeup, be it their mascara, their eyebrow pen, whatever it may be. But with that, then they can start playing around. I just want them to first get that initial feeling of those products and what they are looking on otherwise naked skin, if that makes sense. So ultimately, long story short, it's up to their discretion on how they explore the makeup products, but just understand the expectations can vary and the efficacies can vary depending on what those outside products are, as ultimately we cannot predict those interactions. All right. So what are the concentrations of Byungpo leaf extract in the makeup products? So that is actually proprietary. What we do say, of course, is the Byungpo leaf extract within the formulation of the ICD signature products. So the booster, the serum, and the dermatology cream is where we readily tout the Byungpo leaf concentration, which has now changed and they've actually increased in certain products. So the booster has now 89% Byungpo leaf extract. The serum now has 73%, and the cream has 67%. So that's a 10% increase in the cream. So again, we're still having high concentrations of that giant Byungpo leaf extract, but it's in a variety of different products. In Radianzum, in the Biotin doesn't exist anymore. So it's in the two-phase oil mist, the multi-stick balm, and of course in all the makeup products, but that is proprietary to those formulations. All right. Which cleanser should be used to remove the lip tints? That's a fantastic question from Leanne. So this is a great question because these lip tints stay. They have some staying power. And so if you are wanting to remove these products, you're going to need essentially both cleansers. So realistically, when you approach your double cleansing routine, just do it the entirety of your face, including your lips. That oil base of the oil-based pure cell cleansing oil, excuse me, the moisture cleansing oil is really going to help to break down some of those films or polymers that are existing in the lip tints that help them stay so long. So you need that oil-based cleanser to remove those polymers that help that staying power. And then that water-based cleanser is going to help dissolve any of those further residual oils or oil-based makeup products within the lip products. Of course, with the skin, it's much easier to remove those. That's just a simple either double cleanse, or the snow enzyme or the active or cleansing powder wash will easily remove those products. All right. I have seen some people using the lip color for cheek and eyeshadow. Are they safe to use in these areas? Also, is it okay to use the dermatology cream before the makeup, or is that too much moisture? I love both parts of this question. So first and foremost, absolutely, you can use these products on the cheeks, and I would be wary of the eye area only because these tints do stain, and you don't want to stain the eye area with pigment. It's going to stay for quite a while because the eye skin is thinner than your facial skin. So I advise trim cautiously around the eye area, but cheeks, absolutely. These products were sensitivity tested, so they're entirely okay for that area of the face, and it creates a beautiful, robust shade for a blush. In terms of using the dermatologic cream before the makeup, absolutely, that's what you should be doing. These products are not to be replacements for your current skincare routine. While yes, the BB and the Luminous Glow Cushion have fantastic ingredients for hydration, antioxidant care, moisturization, they're still coverage products as well. So you're going to want to stay true to your current RIMAN ritual by still using that dermatology cream. Absolutely. All right. Okay. Do you use the BB cream and the setting mist paired together, or do you use some setting mist alone for luminosity? That's a great question as well. So absolutely either or. You can use it as a setting spray to set whatever makeup you've applied, be it the BB cream or the Luminous Glow Cushion, or you can easily use it to just add some radiance to your face. If you remember, excuse me, the Set and Stay makeup spray contains not only giant byungpool, but cedar leaf and lotus leaf extract and peony extract as well. And these are nourishing to the skin. So applying it on a bare face is still not only going to bring some luminosity, because there actually is some oil in the Set and Stay makeup spray, but it's still going to nourish your skin to some extent. All right, Shannon asked, can you use the BB cream under the cushion? Absolutely. And that was one of the original mechanisms of application that we had suggested with the Daily Aqua BB and the 4D Luster Cushion. If you remember, the BB cream is much thinner in viscosity and in coverage. It's much sheer. And then you have a little bit more coverage with the Luminous Glow Cushion. So if you want to apply both, really maximize your aesthetic coverage, but perhaps also get both of those key ingredients into your skin, you may absolutely do so. If you like one more than the other, you're totally fine to just use one product at a time as well. Still being All right, and so in terms of using other makeup products outside of RIMAN, they rephrased that, can they tell their customers about still being able to use their other makeup products in combination with RIMAN, like blush, eye makeup? Absolutely. So those are not going to come in interaction anyways. We're looking mainly at the face and the lip, but if you're doing eye application and of course your own blush, which I'm wearing my own blush today, that's entirely fine. What we want is them to at least try the RIMAN products. So if that includes essentially just bringing it into their current routine, that's entirely okay, but they're going to see that RIMAN difference nonetheless. All right. All right, this is another great question from, I believe, Marilee or Marley. So what best shade can you advise for a luminous glow cushion that suits on your skin tone? So finding the right shade for you can always be a guessing game in certain instances, especially with products that have 40 different shades. The uniqueness with the luminous glow cushion is that while it is a more opaque formulation than the BB cream, it still has a little bit of translucency, which you can entirely build up to have an entirely opaque face look, so to speak. But with that in mind, a couple of different skin tones are going to be satisfied by one shade of the luminous glow cushion, if that makes sense. So What I find to be best is, of course, you can guess, you can look at what the shades are offered and say, I think I fall within the shade range. But I also often like to ask what products they were using previously and what that name or shade name of that product was. Oftentimes, products are going to be categorized in similar shade names: fair, light, beige, tan, deep, and the list goes on. So that can give us some indication of where we should place them with the Luminous Glow Cushion in regards to the coverage that they'll want to receive from their perfect skin tone. So typically looking at what their old products were, also kind of guessing based on the different products, or excuse me, the different shades that are offered when you look at the product page online, can give you the best guess as to what shade will do well with their skin. All right, let's see. And I know there's some questions in the chat as well. Oh, this is a good question. So I believe Jonah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. My apologies, or Jonah, but what's better, liposomes or exosomes? Fantastic question. So neither are better or worse. They're just two different ways in which you can enhance absorption of a formulation. Now, the exosomes are naturally occurring vehicles or vesicles that occur in both plant and mammalian cells. They facilitate intercellular communication. Basically, they bring molecules from one cell to another cell, but they still are microscopic molecules that have a phospholipid bilayer. They basically have two layers of little phospholipids that create a polar or water-loving environment on the inside, and then you have an external environment that is oil-loving, and then you, of course, have the outside of your formulation, whatever it may be. Liposomes typically are synthesized. They're going to be created via either our microfluidizer processor or some other type of technology, but they too are microscopic and have that phospholipid bilayer that creates a polar water-loving environment on the inside and an oil-based environment surrounding it. So both are employed, of course, with the liposomes in the Radiance 100 line and the exosomes within the ICD signature line to not only enhance targeted absorption, but to enhance the protection of ingredients to bring them to targeted sites for efficacy. So realistically, there is no either or, better or worse. They're just different mechanisms of formulation aid, so to speak. All right, Sam asked, what is the shelf life of the products? So the shelf life of the products unopened varies, and it depends mainly, of course, most of the skincare and the makeup is going to be roughly, the makeup specifically is roughly 6 months. The skincare is roughly 12 to 18 months, and then it also varies for the Bodilab products and the lightening products as well. And again, this is on unopened, and it does depend on your storage conditions. So specifically away from direct sunlight and in room temperature conditions. All right, so someone asked in the chat, some are getting pimples using EX line skincare product. What to avoid if you are acne prone? Love that question. So when I see someone initially presenting with unfavorable skin conditions from using the products, I first look at their cleansing routine. I make sure that they are not over cleansing their skin, which can disrupt their skin barrier. So that's first and foremost what I look at. Are they double cleansing twice a day? Are they only ever using the cleansing powder wash? That may not be suitable for their skin. With that, the second thing in terms of products to avoid, I typically recommend the two-phase oil mist to avoid if they have acne-prone skin. That's not to say that they can't absolutely introduce it later, but my first focus with acne-prone skin types is ensuring that the core products of the X line are working well with their skin: the booster, the serum, and the dermatology cream. So even if they just use those products and their own cleansers, just ensuring that there is no activity with those products is key. And then from there, you can begin to reincorporate products such as the Calming Balance Gel or the two-phase oil mist, amongst others, even the sunscreen as well. Yes, the cushions are rather neutral tone. There is no yellow warm or cool undertone to the cushions. So someone asked a good question. My customer feels the dermatology cream is too sticky. What would you recommend as a better option for her? So first I would look at how they are applying the products. Are they allowing enough dry down time for the booster or the serum before application of the dermatology cream? If the answer is yes, they are absolutely using everything to the correct standards, then I would say, are you using too much of the dermatology cream? If that's the case too, and they're using just enough of the dermatology cream, then realistically, what you could recommend as a better option is either foregoing it if their skin perhaps is moisturized or has a high enough oil content that they do not need a heavier moisturizer on top of their skin, or they otherwise can look towards even using the the two-phase oil mist, because that still has the balance of water, has the balance of oil, it's going to reinforce that skin barrier, but it's otherwise a much thinner product. I typically wouldn't recommend avoiding a moisturizer overall, but as our dermatology cream and the Radiance 100 cream are both rather viscous creams and they're complaining of stickiness, I would say beyond using the Radiance 100 cream, which they absolutely may, it's actually a thinner viscosity. I would say play around with their application techniques and then even with using the two-phase oil mist as their finishing product. I apologize, y'all. The names are still something that I am trying to get a hold of. I keep repeating the old name. Let's go back to the Q&A. All right, so another great question. So some people are mixing the ICD or previously EX line and the Radiance 100 line together in certain proportions and made them into a spray or lotion. Does this make it more effective? So we would actually advise against product mixing, and I actually made a RIMAN days on this. The reason for that is each product was designed specifically to have stability based on its not only its own packaging, but its own proportion of oils, of waters, and of performing ingredients. When you introduce a mix, you can potentially introduce instability to a formulation such that we cannot predict how it'll interact on the skin, on either your face or your body. You can even potentially risk the chance of actually having contamination as well. That's basically in terms of repackaging a product and putting it into a different bottle, because that bottle might not be unique for maintaining maintaining protection against contamination, such as mold or bacterial growth. So in terms of getting the most efficacy from your products, we say to keep it in the same packaging it was sold in and to avoid mixing to ensure no unpredictable reactivities with those products. Okay. All right, so I often get this question from customers, what does the BB cream do? I stress the skincare benefits of the BB cream and recommend it for those who enjoy light coverage. Right, so that is a fantastic product and you are exactly correct. So yes, the BB cream does indeed add some light coverage to the skin, specifically for fair or somewhat tan individuals, but it also does have those key ingredients as you had suggested. So previously, we of course have the giant byung pool extract that's going to be, of course, our patented ingredient. You cannot get elsewhere or with any other BB cream, but that's going to provide antioxidant care as well as hydration and skin barrier reinforcement. You also have Jeju chickweed, which is a natural extract derived from a specific raw material on Jeju Island that we also source ourselves at Ask Base, which is our manufacturing and processing plant. So that's going to reinforce specifically brightness of the skin. So realistically, in using the BB cream, not only are you getting coverage, which may be solely the goal with that product for that individual, but you are continuing the skincare benefits as well. And so it kind of allows you to have that freshly rolled out of bed look in the sense that your skin still looks like skin and it's still getting benefits from skincare, but you have that nice coverage for an evening of skin tone as well, and perhaps a slight reduction of redness should they have it. All right. Charlotte. Great question from Jan. How do I determine which skincare line to recommend for each customer, EX versus Radiantsum? First and foremost, it's always going to be the question of if they have sensitive skin or not. If they say yes, it's always going to be the dermatology EX line or the signature line, the ICD signature line. If they say no, then we go a bit deeper into their products and product preferences and their skin type. If they have oilier skin, I would say to avoid the Radiant Sun 100 line, as that is very oil rich and it could only further serve to add more oils to their skin, which may be uncomfortable. But specifically, if they have extremely dry skin or mature skin or identifiable skin concerns such as hyperpigmentation or fine lines and wrinkles, I'd say to try the Radiant Sun line out. Not only does it have those liposomes, but it also has those key ingredients like the Vita complex, RK snowflake, collagenere, things that are going to support the skin, especially not only in mature skin types, but in a variety of different skin types and skin desires. If they have normal combination or dehydrated skin that's lacking water, that's when they put towards the dermatology line. That's going to reinforce their water content. And yes, we now have the exosomes in that line, but we're focusing on different key ingredients, more geared towards hydration, skin comfort, luminosity, and antioxidant care as well. So first question is always sensitive skin or not. And if it's no, then the question there is what skin type do you have? And from there, you typically can determine which line is right for them. Do you have to ensure the spray or the booster is dry before applying the serum, or do we have to make sure one product is dry before applying the next? That is a question from Vanessa, and it's an excellent one. Typically, we suggest yes, you should allow for absorption between steps. Many of the K-beauty products, even outside of RIMAN, are designed to fit within the K-beauty concept of layering, in which you layer succinct different layers of products on top of the skin, on top of each other, to not only maximize absorption, but ultimately efficacy of those products. With the booster and the serum specifically, these were uniquely designed for the Boo application routine. The booster going on first, allowing that to absorb, the serum and the booster after. Both the booster and the serum have high concentrations of that giant byungpul leaf extract, which you'll remember is our giant byungpul in Jeju lava energy water. And water's natural behavior is to evaporate. So we suggest booing so that you can saturate your skin while still allowing for that natural behavior of water to evaporate from your skin. If you're rushing it such that you're just doing your booster and the serum all on a wet glob on your face, you are essentially not necessarily maximizing the saturation of these ingredients into your skin. It's not to say you'll see any negative effects by any means, but you might not see all the efficacy that you could depending on the layering technique of these products. So long story short, yes, we do recommend absorption. If you do not have the time, you can always use a fan just to kind of encourage some of that evaporation off the skin. Sorry, guys, there's lots of questions. And so I'm just going to take, I think, two more before we wrap up this call today. And for, again, if there's any question I didn't answer, I'm not trying to avoid any question. I'm trying to answer ones that are most often asked. Still, please email Rachel@RIMAN. We'll have an in-depth discussion. And of course, I do not want to avoid any questions. Okay, so this is a good question. Which specific ingredients make up the vegan collagen? So if you remember, the vegan collagen is within both the semi-matte, velvet matte lip tints, and the lip oil. Now, vegan collagen is a unique area. It's kind of a gray area because realistically, a product will either have collagen promoters, things that promote collagen synthesis, or they'll have collagen created via fermentation. And so we are the latter. Our specific vegan collagen is a uniquely created peptide that has a very similar amino acid chain to the chain of collagen natively in our bodies, but it was created via fermentation. So no animal products at all, but still has a very similar molecular makeup to the collagen natively in our bodies. Okay, great question from Margaret. At what point does one apply the sunscreen before or after the BB cream? Can RIMAN add SPF to the cushions or create tinted sunscreens in the future? That second question, absolutely. That is not an impossibility by any means. And as you may know, in Korea, the cushions are indeed marketed as SPF products as well. But specifically with that in mind, that goes on to the bigger conversation of UV filters. In Korea, SPF products are appreciated as cosmetics, and they can use any filter they so wish. In the US and in Canada, we are strictly regulated in terms of SPFs and that they're considered drugs. And so you must use a monographed OTC filter in your product to claim sunscreen protection. So while no means does it mean we won't do it in the future, we wanted to ensure that these products were not only applicable, but easily saleable as well for a variety of different skin types and different locations. With that in mind, in terms of application of the sunscreen, you should apply it before the BB or mix it in with the BB. If you're not using the BB at all, then it's going to be before the Luminous Glow Cushion as well. All right. And last one is a question I'm getting quite a bit, and I want to answer it because I don't want to avoid it. So a lot of questions are there any chemical ingredients in the lip tints and the makeups? Great question. So virtually everything is a chemical. Even water, it can be considered as a chemical with the molecular makeup of H2O. When you're asking this, I believe you were asking if they're harmful or toxic chemicals, in which we stay true to our ingredient omission of omitting any ingredients deemed harmful or toxic both to ourselves and to the environment via a variety of regulatory bodies, not only the FDA, but the KFDA, Health Canada. And now, of course, as we expand into Mexico, Malaysia, and Singapore, we're going to incorporate those regulatory bodies as well. We are constantly monitoring them, and their research to ensure that our products are safe and they're saleable within those respective locations. So with terms of ingredients, I don't want to say no, there's no chemicals, because everything can essentially be considered a chemical, but there's nothing inherently harmful that we would purposefully include in our formulations. And so with that in mind, for some questions that I might have not been able to answer today on specific ingredients, please feel free to email me and we can have a discussion about the safety of an ingredient that might have a bad rap in social media or on certain apps that HQ does not recognize as essentially qualified analysis platforms, so to speak. But long story short, yes to chemicals, but not in a bad way. Okay, so with that, thank you all so much. I know this was a lot of different questions. I was even running out of breath because I wanted to answer all of them. I love interacting with you all and with your curiosity to understand what's important to you in your application of these products and in your understanding of these products. So as Chris is dropping my email in the chat, please use this as a resource. We'll continue this discussion offline. I am always here to either assuage concerns, to answer inquiries, whatever it may be, but just know that the RIMAN formulation prowess continued with the new ICD skincare and now the makeup line as well. So I hope you're able to get your hands on a couple of new products today with the launch of the ICD makeup, and I hope you're as excited as I am to continue playing around with them. But thank you so much for your interaction with me and with Katie tonight, and I will see you all the next Tradition Meets Innovation call. Have a fantastic Wednesday.